so funny, honestly. It's the first time we've ever used like an actual studio for any of our podcasts.
Yeah, this is amazing.
It's such a good setup.
Well, Ken hit me up and he was like, "Oh, bro, I might have this like studio like available." And he was like, "Oh, I don't know if it's the right aesthetic though." And he shows me videos the other day. I'm like, "Bro, it's perfect.
This is the ideal situation."
Like, what standard are you going for?
It's funny. I'm not gonna lie. We've like our previous podcasts have compromised of our garage was the first one.
Yeah.
The next one was we jumped into a backyard, and then from there we went into I don't know. We've been into like a basement. We've done outdoors. Like I feel like we've covered off so many different podcast locations now.
Yeah, it was so good because I remember I was listening to one of the podcasts, I think with Fraser the other day.
Oh yeah,
and heard like the bird noises in the background. And I was like, "Oh, that's such a nice ambience to the podcast." Like, you know,
it's kind of ambient.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Gives it a good ring.
We've tried like a few different, like we've had our Blue Yeti mic. We've had Fraser's boom. Oh, it's boom mics? The little lapel mics.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
In an actual podcast studio.
How did this even happen?
I don't know,
setup.
but here we are.
Who let us behind these mics?
Someone's unleashing us. Feels kind of dangerous, but I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Stoked to see that.
Amazing. Hello and welcome to the Jeffrey Podcast. If it's your first time listening, my name's Cam. It's Charlie.
Charlie, welcome.
Pretty stock standard, but today we've got a guest named Josh. Good
day. G'day, everyone.
Welcome.
Amazing.
Stoked to be here.
Yeah. Would you like to give yourself like a little intro? Like give us a little bit of a rundown, who you are, your life, just what life looks like for you.
Sure. Well, g'day, everyone. My name's Josh Young. You know, I'm a 18-year-old kid from Auckland. You know,
so good.
You know, been born and raised here in New Zealand, which is always good. Finished up school last year, so studying a Bachelor of Commerce at Auckland Uni now.
Nice.
Yo.
So, you know, it's always good. Hoping to eventually use that to get into marketing.
Nice.
So, you know, always sort of loved working in social media and stuff, and you know, sort of use that over, you know, doing TikTok in the last little bit. So sort of doing that on the side and
yeah. Okay, dive into the whole TikTok thing a little bit because I feel like
Let's
that's
go.
radical for like everyone. I mean, backstory. This is how we actually met Josh the first time. I flicked Josh a DM on TikTok and I was like, "How you doing? Do you want to record a podcast?" But like, I'd be interested to know what the whole TikTok journey's been for you, where that started, what that looks like now for you.
Yeah, well, it's quite funny because it started really casually. I was in school. It was 2019, I think, like late 2019, and it was just.
Is that like when it came out?
It's sort of when it was on the rise, and it was still at the stage of you're really using TikTok? Like, that's a kid's app.
Right.
And I was like,
it's still a meme.
Like, you know,
because it was quite similar to what Musically, wasn't it? And it was kind of more like music and dance focused.
Yeah, right? it was originally Musically, so it got bought out.
Right.
And then they've sort of been developing it into this
I didn't know that.
different app.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I'm so glad that it's where it is today and not still like Musically, because I don't think that society would be in a good place if Musically was still around.
It's true.
Anyway, but so started off just making videos with my mates at school, literally just like doing dumb stuff. Like I think if you scroll down to the like very bottom of my page, the first video is my mate jumping out of one of the school windows to run home to grab some Uno cards because we forgot them. And like, it's like the most random video. And I was like, yeah, this is content. This is what people want to see.
That's great content. I love
and then, you know, that was the first video I ever posted. Got, you know, a couple thousand views. And I was like, why are people watching this?
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But then from there, it was just, you know, post a video here, think of, that could be a really funny TikTok. But then post it, does terribly. It's like, understandable.
Okay, yep, fair call.
But then maybe, I don't know, a couple months into posting and stuff, I was in Pauanui doing flips off a wharf with one of my mates, and we had the GoPro with us, and we were like, how sick would it be if we did a backflip jumping off the wharf and you jump down next to me and film it. And so that was the first sort of video we actually thought out and tried and properly did. Yeah. And that was the first video to do semi-well. It was like 40,000 views in 2 days.
Yeah.
Hector.
And so that was like,
I'm a TikTok noob. So there are views.
Yeah.
Are they separate to likes in TikTok's case?
Yeah, very much so. So
Gotcha.
I'll give you this water if you want it.
Oh, cheers. Yeah, I'd say that out of all the platforms, TikTok's probably the easiest to get views on, which is not helping my case, you know, that I get views. But,
yeah. Interesting. So it's kind of like I don't know, because I also don't really understand TikTok that well. There's one video I posted like months ago, which was also funny diving off a wharf. So I don't know what it is with wharfs.
Maybe it's just
Here we
wharf
are.
videos.
Maybe that's the algorithm.
Full circle.
Maybe we've cracked it.
That's the one. Yeah.
How to TikTok in like 2 minutes.
Wharfs and eels, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get an email from TikTok saying, "Stop spreading the news."
Like
like how
the
to get
FBI
money."
agents are on our case.
That's the
right
one.
now.
Yeah, they're just like, "Yo, what are you doing? Stop spreading the news."
So why did you even get into TikTok in the first place? Was it here's something, give it a go? Or was it, hey, I'm actually going to like do something with this for myself and like build a following? Like, was there intent behind it, or was it more of just a fun thing to do?
I think it stemmed from when I was probably like, young teens, maybe like 12, 13.
Yeah.
And when I got my first GoPro.
Yeah.
And
Sick.
I was constantly watching like travel videos, like people going around, doing flips. I was getting into parkour at that time as well.
Who's your favorite?
Oh, it's cliche, but Sam Calder.
Sam Calder,
100%.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, me
just
too.
like the lupe transitions, you just can't go wrong. They're
can't.
so
You honestly
beautifully crafted. Like, people are like, oh, you follow him? It's like, yeah, he's the top of the game.
I
Like,
absolutely follow Sam Calder.
yeah, 100%.
I'm so glad you guys can share this moment.
I'm so glad you know who that is.
Oh, mate, I'm telling you, I used to follow him religiously, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Nah, so, started making BMX videos with my mates and sort of making these sort of videos. And I think it was like that sort of planted the seed for like content creation. I was like, hey, I actually really enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
And it's something that I do actually want to, take further. Because at that point, everything in like school and what I was like learning and stuff, I wanted to be an engineer. And I was like, oh, physics is cool, maths is all right. Like I kind of understand it. Like engineering could be the move. And then started going through school and actually having to do NCEA physics and maths. And I was like, ooh, maybe it's time to change a bit. But yeah, then I started thinking, hey, in this world of like social media and everything's on the internet these days, like seeing these people make actual money and incomes off social media, I was like, I might as well try this as something fun to see if it would actually go anywhere.
Cool.
Like in the future.
That's
and
so
it
fun.
sort of stemmed from there.
And I guess what a time to try it, right? Like you're, year 13 in school, hanging out with the boys, having a good time. It's like, it'd almost be rude not to, you know?
Yeah.
Try your hand at something new. And I mean, where's it gotten to you to now? Like what are you sitting at the moment? Like what is the shout? What's the plan like?
Well, I mean, I think I started taking it seriously after that first video that I mentioned that did well. And then that video was posted maybe a month and a half before we went into lockdown last year. And then
PTSD.
No, but I actually have good memories from the lockdown because that's when I started making decent content. Because I was like, I've got so much time on my hands.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting on my butt and watching Netflix all day or like, doing nothing, I might as well try this whole TikTok gig and see if it works out. And it ended up, working pretty well because over the course of lockdown, I made like 23 million views worth of content.
Wow.
Which is like, I say the numbers
That's
now
a lot.
after, both the lockdowns that we had here in Auckland. And I was like, damn, that's actually, like, that's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people viewing your content.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I guess you jumped in at the prime time as well. Everybody coming in, going into lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh, what should I do? TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah, exactly. And I've noticed that now.
Yeah.
Like when I post a video, the view to like to following ratio, like of people seeing your content, liking it, and then following you from that has decreased drastically since we came out of lockdown. Because people are like, oh wait, I actually have real life to go to. I can't just spend all day on TikTok.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting.
Yeah. So you kind of had these massive big spikes through lockdown of followers and likes and engagement. How did you find managing that like influx of social media following? And, like, I don't know, like friends, how do they like navigate that? Your parents, what do they reckon of you like making videos when you're like at home and in lockdown? Like what's the whole like picture of that?
It was pretty insane because the first video to do really, really well, it was a video where I flipped over a bunch of people.
Okay.
And I think the thing that I found with making content is I always thought if I want to go viral for something, I want to go viral for something cool, not for something just dumb. Like I don't want to like,
so are we
get
talking
hurt or
front
something.
flip, back flip, like frame?
Side flip.
Side flip.
For someone who's never seen it before, I'm going to close my eyes. I want you to like paint this for me. What's the video?
Okay, so it was at church, funnily enough, which was like the most ideal place it could be.
Yeah.
and I'll touch on that later. But so it was at church. It was at our youth group.
Yeah.
And Friday night, everyone's there, and I can't remember what we're doing. I think it started off with a couple of the boys like leapfrogging over each other, and they were like, it started with someone on the ground, someone just like as a joke jumped over them, and then they're like, hey, do that again, but with me standing up. And so did that, and it was all good. And then they crouched down again. They was like, hey, Josh, you do flips, right? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, surely you could like flip over us. And so I like flipped over one. They were like, dude, you had so much like clearance. Let's add another person. And then that went on for like 15 minutes until eventually we had 10 people lined up.
No way.
So we're talking like on all fours, kind of lined up.
Yeah, like you look at the video and it starts off the people at the front are like super confident. They're like, crouched over, but sort of like, watching, go all the way to the end. There's the people there literally just huddled up in little balls. Just like, I hope I don't get landed on. But yeah, probably like the biggest adrenaline rush I've had in my life. Because, everyone's there like, oh, just do one more. It's like,
And you're like still coming down off that first one. I can't believe I actually did it.
Exactly. And like after I got past 2, I handed my phone to one of my mates and I was like, dude, just start filming it.
Just film it.
Yeah. And so we got all the footage. We, finish up. They call us into the service. We go in and I'm sort of sitting there and I'm like, that video's kind of cool. Might post it to TikTok later. We'll see.
Yeah.
Get home and I'm, bring up iMovie on my computer because
it's got to be done.
iMovie's the way to go. It's underrated.
The OG.
Yeah. And pull it up, chuck the clips together, post it on TikTok maybe like 11:30, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna head to bed, see if it does any good. I'm expecting maybe a couple thousand views at best because that's how well my good videos would do. Wake up the next morning, 250,000 views.
Wow.
And I was like, I woke up and I was sort of in shock looking at my phone, and I was like, okay, that's really cool.
And like comments, reactions, like what was going on?
Yeah, I think I was lucky to be gaining views from something that was positive. Like, it was just something like, it's a kind of cool flip. And it's something that people maybe haven't seen too much of. Like, someone's flipping over people. That's cool. And so I'm sort of glad that I've avoided that sort of side of TikTok that's all about drama and like, who's doing this with who? Because that's where you get hate and stuff. But I think if you stay on the right side of TikTok, you get, really cool communities of people who are just like, hey, this is cool. We're going to keep everything cool, know?
That's so interesting. You talk about like different sides of this community and different sides and areas of this platform that is social media, and it's kind of like the dark corners and like the weird auntie of social media. But like, I guess what for you, the community that you've started to establish and grow from your following on TikTok, has it had any like real life impact or influence, or has it kind of stayed predominantly on social media?
A mix of both. I think the coolest things that have come from social media into real life has been the connections that I've made with people. I mean, obviously like you guys, like this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for social media and TikTok.
It's true.
But I think also quite a few of my flip videos were at church, and like that one that went really viral, it's sitting at like 5 million views now, was at church. And so I had people commenting and they were like, yo, where is that? And I was like, it's at church. And quite a few people after that, sadly, like we went to lockdown like a couple of weeks after I posted that video. And so nothing could really happen with that. But even after we came out of the lockdowns, people were like, oh yeah, bro, saw your video and saw the building in real life. And I was like, and they were like, oh, we should come in, check it out. And so I've had people coming into church and being like, we saw your video.
Dang.
And like, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn there, but like, it's cool seeing how something that is just something that I enjoyed doing is actually bringing people into an environment like that.
Yeah, far out. That's epic. So you've mentioned church a couple times now. Like, what for you? I guess what's your background in that sphere? Like, sounds like a real important part of your life.
100%. Like, I'm a church boy. I've grown up in church. Like, parents, strong Christians. I consider myself a strong Christian as well. I just love church. Like, second home, 100%.
So cool.
But so been involved in the sort of leadership team there for quite a while.
In youth group or?
So it started off in kids church, still there.
Awesome.
Yeah, leading the little kiddos. It's so good, underrated. But just started off this year. Now that I've come out of youth program itself, is now actually leading the youth as well, which is super cool.
What church are you at?
Life Church.
Life Church. Yeah.
Cool.
Mount Eden.
So it must have been at the Mount Eden campus, the
yes.
split?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
no.
Cool.
No, it was.
I can envisage it all now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had no idea what building it was at, but as soon as he said like, at church in the car park, I thought of Live Mount Eden.
Yeah,
I'm just like, surely it'd be a space like that, like big epic sort of framing. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's quite funny because in a part of Life's logo, there's a lot of like pluses and crosses and stuff, and so I had lots of people in the comments being like, "Oh, why are you flipping in front of a hospital?" I was like, "Nah, bro, that's church."
Hospital for your soul.
Different type of healing.
What a call for you. The hospital for your soul.
Love that.
Someone get that tattooed.
Yeah, well, that's the nugget from this episode. That's going up on a reel.
Wait, chuck that on the next Jeffrey t-shirt.
Be like, business in the front,
party in the back.
How good is that?
Screen printed.
Oh, spectacular.
That's awesome.
Dang. So, like, far out. And I guess youth group and life through all of that, your mates from there, have there been, like, I guess any of your other friends that have gone down the TikTok hole? Like, I know there's, like, it seems to be a bit of a theme. Like, there's a lot of creators that kind of start to huddle together and, like, create together.
Like collaboration.
Yeah, like, I've noticed, like, Jimmy Jackson and, like, Mr. Tix and, like, all of that, they all start to, like, collaborate together and do stuff together. And I guess, is that something that you've experienced in Auckland or a little bit less so?
Not so much. I've actually, the one collaboration thing that I've experienced the most has been internationally.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we had a bunch of us in the flipping community, and we all connected.
The flipping community.
That's
I love that.
sick.
I love that's a thing.
Is that like a actual like thing? Is it how do you is it like a page or like a hashtag or?
Not really. It's
how
just
do people know?
It's just people who do flips and will just like
nice flip, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that's all it starts with.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
that's super cool because one of the things, probably my biggest collaboration that I've done, was with a bunch of people. We had like 3 people from the US, a couple from the UK, me from New Zealand, and then someone from Australia, I believe.
Yeah.
And we all sort of connected, all started following each other, and it was like we started this group chat, and we were like, hey, let's all just start posting flips on this page. And so we did it. I think we called ourselves like Worldwide Flippers or something like that. Yeah. And it was just super cool because suddenly I've made these mates that I've never met before, but without social media, I would never have had those connections.
Yeah.
And it's been super cool being able to connect with people who have the same sort of passion as you. Yeah. But they just happen to be in different places around the world.
Yeah. And people that I guess you would have never met otherwise, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't bump into them down the street or anything.
The power of social, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's amazing. And even people that I've like looked up to for years. Like there's a couple of people in the flipping community that I've been watching since I was like 15, 16.
Damn.
I'd watch like every day, and they were some of the people that started me into flipping that now I talk to nearly on the daily.
Wow.
And
That's
it's
awesome.
all through that, just posting videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
What about any other like celebrity recognition? Have you gotten any like comments or DMs or like any big names that you can drop?
I've gotten a couple, and it's one that I always like stand by when people are like, oh, what's like your biggest TikTok achievement? And I was like, Jason Derulo commented on my video.
Dude.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't much. It was just like a mind-blown emoji.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
It's probably
and
just
wear
one of
that
his late
badge.
night scrolls, like
Exactly.
looking for some good
He's
content.
just like,
Exactly.
"Yo, sick."
Yeah. Hey, that's a
he's
nice
like-
flip, man.
Yeah. I didn't realize that he's going to make this kid's entire like second lockdown.
The things a man can achieve in lockdown number 2.
You're like, I can't make it through this, and then that one comment. Oh, Jason, I can.
Exactly. So I'd say him and Jimmy Jackson have been probably
Awesome.
the 2 biggest that have commented on my videos.
Yeah.
That's so cool,
Which is
man.
super sick. Yeah.
That's
that.
insane. So we've talked a lot about like the positive like things of social media, things that have like you've found beneficial in your life that you've gotten like a lot of fruit from, and like it's brought people into church, and like it's that's incredible. For you, have you experienced much of like I guess the negative side, or that ugly auntie of social media?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest negative that I've experienced with social media has been just spending too much time on it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, you go to post a video and you're like, oh, I'll dedicate 10 minutes of my time to, chuck this up, make sure it's doing all right, engage with the first few comments, and then just leave it. And then next minute you've been scrolling TikTok for 2 hours and you're like, I've just lost an afternoon where I could have been doing so much more.
Yeah. How do you manage that? Like, do you have boundaries, or like, how do you navigate all of that?
Still working on it. It's a constant battle.
All of us, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Totally. That's addictive, right?
That's so addictive.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What
how
do
it
you
works.
find to be the most addictive like element of it for you? Would it be the like the response you get from the viewers? Would it be like actually the rush or an adrenaline of like posting something and like, is it or isn't it going to do well? Like what kind of keeps bringing you back?
I think it's the feeling of the day after you post, because when you post something, there's never a guarantee that it's going to do well.
Yeah.
You know, and especially with TikTok, it's all about how much engagement it gets in the first, you know, little bit of time. And sometimes even that. So I've had videos that I've posted and they've gotten a couple thousand views over a week, and then suddenly they've spiked up to like over 100,000 views.
Crazy.
But then, you know, you have some videos that look like they're going to do really well, but then don't. And so it's sort of trying to make sure that you're not getting your happiness from that or getting like anything out of that and being like, oh, you know, I'm down because that video hasn't done well.
Yeah.
Like, because I found that,
Seeking
you know,
that validation.
exactly,
right?
like, and you know, it's obviously something that's quite easy to slip into, and, you know, especially like last year, I found myself like, oh, I haven't had a video do well in like a couple weeks.
Wow.
And I was like, and then I sort of like had a bit of a reality check, and I was like, what the heck? I'm like feeling down about not getting views on an app. Like it's literally numbers on a screen. And I was like, nah, that's not the way to go. So yeah, I think it's just making sure that you're not depending on it, but just making sure that you're enjoying it and doing it because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Dang.
That's awesome.
We do a lot of work with creatives, and we love working with creative people. And like, I mean, a firm belief of the Jeffrey community is that like every single person that walks the face of this planet has creative elements in their life.
And I love that so much.
Like the ability to create in some way, shape, or form. Like they are creatives. And so like, I don't know, I feel like we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves and like we're for creatives because like we believe everyone's creative.
Yeah.
And I guess in your life, you create on social media, you create these epic TikToks that do so well and like people engage with and love, and it's like even creating a real world like benefit. Is there areas of your life that I guess you create outside of TikTok? Like have you seen or experienced any other ways that you create or that you're creative?
That's a great question. I think that I'll go through like different phases of ways I could be creative, because I'm quite I'll find something that I enjoy doing and I'll be like, I'm going to go all in with this. And then generally I'll like get bored with it within a couple months, which is why I'm surprised I'm still making TikToks.
Yeah. But hey, at least you gave it a crack, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's another thing of mine is that if you can, why not give it a go?
Yeah, that's good.
You know, because I hate living with regret, and like you know, I don't have many, if any, regrets at all, and I tend to stick by that. And I think that, you know, if you have the opportunity to give something a go, like why not?
Yeah.
And so I'd say some things that I've sort of experimented with over the last few years, like tried to get into painting. So I got like super into like painting skate decks and doing art on that. Man. Drawing, I went through a massive drawing phase.
Yeah.
I think I went through a stage a couple of years ago when I wanted to start my own clothing brand. So I like designed like 20 or 30 different logos, was like screen printing them on t-shirts, wearing them around like mufti days at school, and I was like, I made this.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at them now, like they weren't very good, but like I was proud of them. So
Well, and it's all a part of that like creative journey, right? And your evolution as a creative.
Exactly.
Like, everybody starts somewhere. Everybody goes off on crazy tangents. Like I'm currently going off and painting and pottery, and like, you know, I'm a UX designer by trade, like my full-time job during the week. But like we all need that kind of rejuvenation, right? I mean, sounds of it by trade in a way. You're a TikTok creator, right?
Yeah.
But hey, why not go off and try this and this?
Exactly.
And will that not somehow feed back into your main, like your primary avenue? I think it's so important to actually
expand your horizons.
Yeah, like exactly as you were saying just before. Like, why not?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And I often think about things that I've, you know, experimented with and think about, that actually led up to where I am today. And if I hadn't like done that, then I wouldn't be. So like photography, for example, it's something that I'm still into. I just don't spend as much time doing anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't been out with my mates like last year and the year before, taking flip photos and like sort of starting off that sort of like flipping orientated like content, I don't think I'd have made that TikTok video. I wouldn't have filmed it. I just would have done it and it'd be like a cool story.
Interesting.
But I think doing things like that where it's little things that build up to something that ends up being massive in your life, And yeah, it sort of links back to what I was saying earlier. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Get out and get it done.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny. I like your gram slaps. I love your gram
thank
so
you.
much.
I appreciate that.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn, this guy's got such a following on TikTok, and I like moved to the gram, and I was like, your content is so like well put together and colorized, and like the photo quality is like insane. Like I think it's so cool.
Thank you.
And it's something that's, I guess, it's hard to do. I've tried to do it. I'm not a photographer. I've learned it's one of those things that I like picked up and didn't continue on. But like, yeah, I rate
There's something really satisfying in creating and curating it, right?
Yeah.
And you can go look at your own profile and be like, yeah, this is something that I'm proud of. You know, some people will rip into other people like, bro, you spend way too much time on that. Or like, look at your profile, bro. Do you really sink that much like time into it? But it's like, if you take it seriously and if the content you're creating is connecting with people, if it's, you know, inspiring
even if it means something
people,
to you.
and means, is an outlet for you to express and, you know, in a positive way.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly.
Just do it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that it's something that, you know, lots of people will think like, it's just social media. Like I'll just post a pic here, a pic there. But for me, it's more of a, you know, social media is more of a hobby.
Yeah.
You know? So I think,
Yeah.
I've seen this cool ass picture of, you know, someone doing this. I want to try and recreate that, but put my own spin on it. Like,
Nice.
you know, I've seen someone walking on this cool ass walkway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do a flip there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've been called out on it, like mates been like, mate, you try way too hard on your Instagram. Or they'll be like, mate, just stop it. Just use your phone camera. Why are you using like a professional camera and stuff?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I enjoy it.
Because I love
Yeah,
it.
and I
Because it's fun.
Like, shouldn't that be the rule of thumb? Like, you have your profile and you post because you're proud of it and you love it and you dig it.
Yeah.
The rest is just an overflow. If people engage with it or not, that's just,
Doesn't matter.
that'll happen.
Yeah.
Right? Naturally.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it may or may not. But as long as you love it and you love to be able to go and see your like curated collection
Instagram.
of what you love, the things that get you going.
So
like,
good.
that's what's most important, right?
100%.
That you're loving what you're doing. And it's not to feed into other people's wants and desires, and you know you're just pleasing other people with the content.
You're just having a great time.
Just having a great time.
Documenting it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the modern day
Journaling.
scrapbooking.
Yeah, 100%.
I like that. Yeah.
My mum used to get so into scrapbooking,
Yeah,
well, actually,
same.
it's funny.
Yeah.
She got into scrapbooking when she had me, and then after she had me, that was it. Like, there was no more scrapbooking. She got way too busy.
You're the lucky one.
Like, I kid you not, like, my whole life growing up, every time we had a craft project or anything like at school, we had this cupboard downstairs, and we'd, like, take all the, like, old beach towels out and all the, like, old, like, linen and everything, and underneath all of that, there'd be this box, and it was, like, full of the whole, like, scrapbook collection with all the, like the scissors that have the little serrated scissors and all the, like,
it's special, it's tangible, right? It literally is. Instagram,
it is.
the modern day scrapbooking and photo albums, right? Like, how awesome are those?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Cracks me up.
Dude, I have to know, like, I hear people on TikTok and these new social platforms, monetization, right? Are you making money off flips?
To a degree, yes.
That's
But-
cool.
I know, it's dope. And no, it's kind of funny the progression that's come from that, because it started off back when I was talking about doing like the flips with photography and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I thought I'd hit top when a company offered me to wear their t-shirt in a photo. Yeah. And I was like, I've made it. Like, Mom, I'm getting free stuff
I'm
now.
done.
Like, that's it. I've completed
I'm
social media.
Settings, delete TikTok account. I've done it.
Yeah, legit.
I've
Like,
clocked it.
I've cracked the code. Nah, but you know, I think it was that, and then I think that started it, and then things have just started getting, you know, bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And then, you know, got offered to, so a company came up to me and they were like, hey, you know, we're making this ad campaign and we need someone to do flips in them.
Wow.
And I was like, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so,
That's so
you know,
cool, dude.
I not only got paid and got like work experience, you know, in like the advertising field, but I was making TikToks, which was, you know, it's been my hobby. Like that's what I did for fun as like a break from work. And now suddenly I was not having to work and instead make TikToks. I was like, this is just a win-win.
Yeah.
I absolutely love stories like that, bro. Like, there are way too many people out there that are just stuck in a rut of doing stuff they don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And I've been there.
Yeah, straight
like,
up, me too.
multiple times. And it's like, dude, you're making money off doing flips.
Yeah.
How sick is that? Like, how important is that? Like, for every person to find the thing that they froth.
Yeah.
And that just energizes them, and they they find joy and purpose in, and like actually do it for a living.
Yeah.
Like, and beyond financially, like for a living, like you wake up each day and you do that. Like it's part of your life.
So
cool.
Yeah. Like it's just like speaks a part of who you are and like what you want to do.
Have you faced much like scrutiny or people looking down on you for what you've chosen and kind of these avenues you've been going down and exploring?
I mean, obviously there's the people that are going to be like, oh, he's the guy that made TikToks. Like, that's a bit cringe.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know, he didn't get a job this summer because he was off making TikToks. And I was like, yeah, but, you know, I maybe made a bit less money than what you guys did having a, you know, 9-to-5 job over the summer. But even though you've got like an extra couple grand in your account, I had an amazingly fun summer. I was getting, you know, paid to go jump off waterfalls and do fun stuff. And you were getting paid to sit behind a counter.
Yeah. So if we just lay them out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm a firm believer in like, you know, having a good time. And that's probably been my downfall a bit, you know, avoiding school assignments to go out with mates or stuff, you know.
Nice.
But and I don't encourage doing that, by the way.
But maybe.
But maybe, like, if you can do it tomorrow, like, come on.
Yeah.
Nah. But I'd much rather get paid slightly less and have an amazing time and love what I'm doing than get paid a massive amount of money and be bored senseless and absolutely hate what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's great.
I guess it comes back to like what is actually the most important thing in your life. Like,
Exactly.
And what's actually going to give you like joy. What's actually going to like feed your tank and like, or fill your tank and like feed your soul.
Yeah.
Ain't going to be money.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I can pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Far out. Have you, I guess, with your friendships, has there been any tensions that have come in through all this? Because, like, it sounds like a pretty sweet gig, not going to lie. But, like, have there been any struggles that you've found through, like, your journey on social media or, like, even just, like, last year of high school and, like, segueing into university? Like, these are massive life changes for you. And is there, like, I don't know, I'd be interested to know, like, for you personally, has there been tensions in that area at all?
Not particularly.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there were friends that came and went, and you know, that's sort of standard for transitioning out of high school, and you know, trying to find your tribe, I guess. Yeah. But I feel like I've actually gotten super lucky with the people that I've got around me now. Cool. Especially through like church again. Yeah. Got a super cool group of people around me that, you know, I know I can rely on, and you know, the fact that we're all sort of doing the same sort of stage of life together. Yeah. And it's super cool, and I feel like there's lots of people that have, you know, struggled with, you know, like friends or transitioning between friend groups and stuff. And I've always been a pretty social person, like, you know, hated being hated or hated, like, you know, not being friends with someone. And so I feel like that's helped me a bit. But yeah, I don't think I've had many struggles socially or like, you know, with friends and stuff in the transition. And I think I'm just super blessed in that area. Yeah, that's cool. Having environments like church to go into and be like,
it's like a safe space.
Yeah, exactly.
It's man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I respect that.
Do you see yourself running with it? Sorry, flipping with it into. Sorry, that was so bad.
Yeah, it's so good.
You had a couple of shockers this episode, eh?
Bro, I am like 25 going on dad real quick.
I live for the dad jokes. It's so good.
But like, do you see this being like a long-term thing, or do you see it as being, as we were talking earlier, one of these things that you just like trying out and having a bit of fun with?
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal before COVID was to have a gap year to try out social media before I went to uni.
Oh.
And, you know, that was going to be the goal. Was like, oh, let's try it full time, just like make content every day. Yeah. And then coronavirus came around and I was like, maybe not. Yeah. Don't.
Jokes.
Yeah, if I'm going to be stuck inside my room, might as well be studying something. Yeah. And so I've sort of shifted my life plans around a bit. And I think what I'm going to do is do my gap year after I finish my degree. Because then I can, I'll finish studying, finish all that. Then take a year to actually try social media full time. Cool. Actually give it a go, see if it works out. If it doesn't work out, I'll have had a fun ass gap year. Yeah,
you know? Straight up.
And you know, it'll be like make memories. Yeah. And if it does work out, I've gotten like my dream job.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Amazing.
And yeah.
What do you see? I guess your dream job, your dream like you know path to walk down in social media, even because I feel like there are so many different ways to like do creation, to do social media. Like what does that look like for Josh? Like what lane would you run in?
I've like thought about this quite a lot, and I don't think I've ever come up with like a specific answer for it because you know, my goals for content creation change nearly daily.
Yeah.
You know? And but I think the biggest thing that I want to do is be able to put a smile on someone's face. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I'll have some of the little youth that I lead, and they'll come up to me after, you know, seeing someone be like, "Oh, bro, this was so cool," you know, and I'll be like, "That's dope," you know. Or I've had even like people that I've never met before, and they'll come up and they'll be like, "Dude, that was a sick flip," you know. They have like this massive smile on their face, and I'm like, "That's the goal." Yeah. And so I think that, you know, whether my content involves flips the next, 5 years, I'm even still making content. If it's something that makes someone smile, then that makes me happy.
Job done. Yeah.
Bro, that's sick. I guess that's the coolest thing about flips is it's something that's just so simple and yet like...
Come on, bro. Do one right now. Say it's simple. Legit.
No! When you
the question is, now that we've got video rolling,
we got the camera.
Are we going to get a flip in the podcast?
Sure.
No, let's not break the room.
I feel like that will not go down well at all.
Everyone downstairs just massive thud. Just
we'll get TikTok rolling at the same time.
On my neck.
Yeah, not the goods.
Oh, no, it's not a good idea.
What would you like to see with the Jeffrey community? You've been connected with us since day dot.
Yeah.
We were talking before the podcast. Yeah. Josh has followed us on all channels since the very start. And
I went back to Spotify and found the man follows our Spotify.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy.
A pretty lucrative under the radar sort of channel for Jeffrey, but he's there.
It's kind of like a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I mean.
But yeah, what would you love to see with Jeffrey? What would you like to see us do?
Yeah, I was listening to a couple of the podcasts in the last couple of days, sort of like thinking like, because I've never been on a podcast before, first time. Yeah. And I was thinking, so what sort of questions are going to ask me? And the one recurring question was, what do you want to see like the Jeffrey community become? And I think that it's a super cool idea to like have this community of like creatives and, obviously the belief that everyone can be a creative come together. And I think just being able to connect those sort of people together and sort of have this sort of mention like church being sort of a safe space. I think that in sort of a similar regard, like I think Jeffrey becoming a place where just creatives can come, share their sort of aspect of what they think creativity is and be able to, show off what they do and how they do it and then sort of connect with like-minded people is just a super cool thing. And I think that as Jeffrey continues to grow, like, bringing things into real life will be super sick.
Yeah,
but yeah, just continuing to grow the community of creatives and people that can connect on that sort of level.
Awesome.
That's so sick. I love it.
Yeah.
How good.
That's great, man. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No worries. It's been an honor.
It's been
super sick.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's do a flip.
Right here, right now. All three of us. 3, 2, 1, go.
One final question.
Yeah.
Do you do at least one flip every single day?
I try to. Don't always stick to it, but pretty much yes.